Medical Report. We have Ron Patterson from LUMEN Photon. And Ron, LUMEN is an amazing device, and I've recently get a lot of consults regarding vision care. So I'd like to start from head to toe. If you have the early stages of cataracts, if you've got retinopathy, inflammation of your eyes, they've actually done experiments with animals where they injected them with toxins that would otherwise cause blindness 100%, and the LUMEN Photon will actually rescue them so they have no loss of vision at all. So if you have early cataracts, the first thing you want to do is take our eye protocol, which is Can-C eye drops, Silver 100, and Vision Max, Cell Detox Glutathione, Nutricella, and Neurogen, Omega Supreme Krill with the astaxanthin to protect your eyes. And you want to start using the LUMEN. In fact, we have people who've shipped the LUMENs around the world to as far away as New Zealand and elsewhere, where they start using their LUMEN, and setting number 7 will reduce the intraocular hypertension caused by blockage of the canals of Schlemm with stealth pathogens including fungi and mycobacteria. Particularly in diabetics, their eyeballs are loaded with mycobacteria because it's a relative of TB. And you take our antipathogenics. I recommend Silver 100, Alisadban, orally, and in sinus irrigation, because everybody that has retinal problems, 100% of them have sinus problems, 100%. And also the same people that have organic brain dysfunction, they actually have diabetes of the brain and inflammation of their brain. Their blood-brain barrier is broken down. They all have sinus problems, 100%. So you need to take antipathogenics, Silver 100, in your Sinupulse Elite. LUMEN's amazing for that. Same with NICA, which is cavitations around the teeth and the roots, and we call pocketing. If you want to get rid of cavitations, you go to a good dentist. In fact, my dentist is Dr. Jeffrey Curbs here in Escondido. He's one of the top 3 rated cosmetic and biological dentist in Southern California. He's amazing. And his hygienist, Janae, just recently did a good deep dental cleaning and even was able to use our YAG laser. They have the most advanced technology. But if you want to heal it afterwards, use CoQ10, burst a capsule, and then start using your LUMEN on your gums and your jaw. If you want to get rid of osteomyelitis, you want to heal your bone, you want your gums to heal any cavitations, LUMEN Photon. And then we work down the neck. If you've got cervical and chronic pain syndromes, TMJ dysfunction, inflammation, if you've got carotid artery plaque and you want to reverse it, you want to take our lipid reversal protocol, including full vitamin K2, Power C+, Cardiovasc, Omega Supreme Krill, Omega Supreme, and Omega Cod Liver Liquid, and believe it or not, LUMEN Photon again. Same with over your coronary arteries. You want to regenerate your heart muscle. You're taking our Copper Regenemax along with Nutrifos and Neurogen to regenerate solid organs, and Collagen Max. You're going to start regenerating your heart muscle along with our Mountain Red Velvet. You want to slap that LUMEN pad directly over your heart or your kidneys if you're trying to regenerate them. So I tell people the power of ones: oxygen, NutriMeds, energetics. And at the top of that list are the LUMEN Photon and Micropulse. And of course we also have the bigger pad systems called the X Vitalizer, which we can set up a morphogenic field. Tell us about LUMEN. This is an amazing technology, and the neat thing about it is the proof is in the pudding. When your animals will jump up and take your electrodes from you if you leave them, when you go to the restroom and you come back and your cat's curled up on your electrodes, they can't get the cat off or the doggy. They say, I want that. And the same with the horse. It'll kind of wiggle over and say, good, this is good, man, this is good, I want this. So if you have a horse that's, $1 million horse, they want to run, they don't want to be put down, they don't want to be sick. Horses are almost I call it a supernatural animal. They really are kind of amazing, aren't they? And they're so intuitive, but they get ill. And believe it or not, many of their illnesses are reversed very quickly and simply with right nutraceuticals and with LUMEN. So tell some of the stories you have about animal and people stories that are kind of neat.
Well, early on we had a horse that had a fracture in his foreleg. It looked like the vet said that apparently one of the boys working in the horse barn had gotten angry with the horse and stabbed it with a pitchfork, and it set up an infection in the cannon bone there. It was a really hazardous situation. They were afraid that the bone was weak, and the horse was not doing very well, and they called us in, and we just left. We went over and did work with the horse quite a bit, and then we gave them one to start just keep using it on the horse. and I guess it was 4 or 5 days later that it completely healed to the point that the boy that was trying to take care of the horse couldn't hold it, and the horse took out and jumped across the creek took a run in the 40-acre pasture out in front, and came back and said, "Okay, now we're done." And that was just hilarious because nobody could believe it, because the vets had said there was almost no reason that they thought they could get this to heal. They wanted to put the horse down because it was the humane thing to do, because the horse was going to die. And
right.
So that's just one point. We've seen so many different things that it works on dogs, cats, birds. It doesn't matter. People, it just penetrates very deeply into the body, and it's people like for horses that have gut problems, gastric issues. We put it over the gut area. And we knew we were seeing something when they were bloated, which normally that was emergency surgery or something to try to save the horse, and usually it died. Put it over the gut, it would reduce that irritation, and they found out that would take care of that, that's a big deal.
Yeah, that is kind of amazing, isn't it? And we see that with people with traumatic concussions to their head. If someone has, for example,
everything under the sun, you've sort of covered that. But from your feet on up, from eyes, vision improvement to as we get old, it's good. It's very good to put it on the top of the head and increase the circulation in the brain, which brings in more oxygen, helps us to flush other systems out. Over the eyes, it improves the vision. We have esthetician clinics that really swear by this, and it helps to reduce wrinkles and that sort of thing. It helps to heal after a wound, surgery, anything like that. You can use it through a cast. We've had people with compound fractures that have used it. Well,
here's a recommendation, by the way, if you're a surgeon out there listening, whether you're a plastic surgeon, orthopedic surgeon, eye surgeon, if you had these in your post-op recovery room and just slapped pads on the area where you did the operation, patients would say, "I don't need pills. I don't want a shot for pain. I'm feeling great. When can I go home?" And that's an amazing thing. And also the recovery afterwards is going to be far faster.
Oh, yeah.
The inflammatory phase will be minimized. The healing phase will dramatically be increased. The rate of recovery and the tensile strength of your tissues, if you're trying to heal after an orthopedic procedure, if you're healing after an orthopedic procedure where they do, major bone work, you're going to heal much, much faster with your ligaments and so on if you have lumen photon therapy. Into peripheral neuropathy, joint problems, regenerating tissues, regenerating kidneys. For example, I tell people, take our nutraceuticals, get a lumen pad. That's step number 1. Step number 2, get a mild hyperbaric oxygen. Number 3, if you're really trying to regenerate, say, kidneys, liver, whatever, get Stemedica in Santa Clarita, Tijuana, to do the Stemedica stem cell therapy, and you're going to get regenerated. But you don't need to do all steps. If you just start off with something simple like Mountain Red Velvet, Collagen Max, and you just start taking your lumen pad over your problem areas, you're taking ergothioneine, which is our oncomycin or myco-D2, microdose, etc. The body just says, "Hey, I got all the nutrients here. Now I've got the right signal, the light therapy." You might even combine both micro pulse magnetic field therapy and the lumen, but the lumen's my first choice. It's amazing. You can put it over any area, whether it's TMJ, intraocular pressure problems, retinopathy, traumatic head injury, post-concussion syndrome, subdural hematoma, TMJ, cavitations, spinal pain, arachnoiditis after you got the spinal tap and you got arachnoiditis. There's nothing like lumen photon. As I tell people, we have a special on, by the way. We're giving a special break-in price even this holiday special, so if you want to save more money, order it this weekend. You're going to get a great deal. Stay right there, Ron. We're going to get ready a book for our next time, and coming up next is Karen in New Zealand with some more. Welcome back to the Nutrimedical Report. And Karen, the boys, I guess they had a little prolonged time before they came back from the mountains because of the La Nina currents, but they came down for their haircuts. They're all happy. They're in the paddocks, as you say, getting extra hay, getting wonderful treatment. And in fact, I call it the Sandals Resort for Scottish red deer in New Zealand. This is a...
That's it, because we believe here at Mountain Red that if we look after our boys and we treat them really well, each year when they come back in to have their antlers harvested, we check them out, make sure they're all good, and away they go again. And we see them, again next year. But they're so cared for. We have beautiful open ranches that they can run. Deer are meant to run. And we feed them beautifully, and in return we get the world's best deer velvet that we know contains 396 different active ingredients to heal the body. There is no greater product that you can take that has that many ingredients in one capsule that doesn't mask the symptoms, doesn't put a layer over top of it. This gets to the root of the problem and heals the body.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Absolutely, and that's why we hear from people who say, that ankle injury that I have had for so long, I've taken this product to get more energy and it's fixed my ankle as well. I'm working double shift at the moment and I've taken Mountain Red Deer Velvet and I've got all this energy, but I can also remember better. We have people who say, I've lost that backache and I'm sleeping through the night, which I haven't done for years. I'm back out on the golf course. I'm playing tennis. We hear all these stories from people who have taken this product to perhaps do one thing, and it's done a number of things for them because they're getting all of those micronutrients that they need to heal the body. And it's like, wow, thanks. I've got all this stuff on board. So I'm able to move better, I'm able to sleep better, I'm able to remember better, and that's what we hear from people every day who are taking this Mountain Red Deer Velvet.
Yeah, it is kind of remarkable how happy people are when they take it. That's why you don't get returns, do you?
No, we don't. We get a lot of people at the moment who are saying, we need more. So, we have...
in fact, people start panicking with us and they say, it's delayed, isn't it?
Oh.
We can't have this. Dr. Deagle, what do we do? No,
Exactly.
I'm thinking, can we fly to New Zealand and get it? No, it's still on the antlers of the deer and they're coming down from the mountains. But they're all done now. They're actually all harvested in, isn't it?
All harvested, and they're back out, and they've all been checked, and we have our vets check them over, so we do their teeth and their feet, and they get all checked out, and they're all great, and off they go again. And they run, we care for them, we can fly over and look at them, and they just are gorgeous boys, and they come in again next year, and we'll do the same process. And we give them the beautiful land and the beautiful food that they can grow, and in return they grow their antlers that we harvest once a year, and away they go again. And it's just such a beautiful relationship because we respect them, and that's why we get the very best deer velvet in the world. There is no other product like that, and I can guarantee that. Returns? Never. We have never had someone return our Mountain Red Deer Velvet and say, yeah, didn't work. This product does work because there are so many different active ingredients within that one capsule. And what's remarkable is that when you take it for that ankle injury or the creaky knee or the lower back pain, it seems to fix so many other things as well. And that's what we hear is, gee, I just feel brand new. And that's remarkable to hear from people who have suffered from pain for years.
Yeah, it really is quite amazing. And of course, the reason why pain goes away is the problem is fixed.
Yes.
A lot of people have a wrong-headed view of what pain is. They think pain is almost like having a Flip Wilson devil on your shoulder, kind of sticking you with a pitchfork. No, pain is a neurological calculation by your nervous system that says, splint that tissue, because I'm going to continue causing pain until you just make you stop moving that injured or damaged or micro-injured tissue. Now, sometimes a signal happens and there isn't a real significant injury, and then it's inappropriate. But when the problem is solved, when the tissue's healed, the pain signal stops. People need to understand that. It's not a matter of turning off the inflammatory molecules like substance P with Tylenol, which is, by the way, really stupid, because it doesn't even turn off the inflammation in the tissue. It just blocks substance P, so you continue to move a tissue that's not healed. So if you have a micro-injury of the collagen or connective tissues, you're going to continue to tear it until it's a macro-injury or a big one. And the whole approach to using narcotics for treating pain is also stupid because your natural pain mechanisms are stronger than anything we can give you. And as soon as we start giving you narcotic pain medications, we literally take away your pain so you start moving, but the injured tissue is still not healed.
Correct.
The key issue is let's heal the tissue, and the body says, hey, I don't need to be in pain anymore. I can move that tissue. It doesn't need to be splinted, so it won't rip apart or tear or break. And that's what the body's trying to do.
Absolutely, and you hear from people who, gee, I've had that ankle injury for years. This is not going to make any difference, but I'll take it for some energy. And then suddenly that they're feeling better, and it's, do you know, I haven't had pain in that leg for so long. And that's what's remarkable about this, is even an old injury can be healed by Mountain Red because there's so many active ingredients in there that work to fix that. So it doesn't just give you the energy and make you feel better and help you sleep. It's in there busy fixing all those old niggly injuries that you've had for years. And that's what's really nice.
Yeah, and also it treats injuries or tissue problems that are not healing before you even get symptoms. Let's say it's your eyes and you're trying to heal your retinas, or your brain, you're trying to remyelinate nerve pathways that you don't know yet. You're getting down to your last few good neurons and neural connections. Or your joints, you don't know yet that you're getting more and more loss of hydroviscous layer, and soon you're going to be down to cartilage on cartilage, which will fibrillate, tear, then calcify and form little micro razor blades to tear your joint apart. You don't realize that if you can start regenerating the tissue with Mountain Red Velvet, the cartilage, the hydroviscous layer, so the wrinkles start to go away because you're taking the Mountain Red Velvet. Joints get hydroviscous layer, your eyeballs get plumped up. Most people don't realize even your eyeballs don't generate enough hyaluronic acid to keep the intraocular movement of fluid and oxygen and nutrients around inside the eye. When you start taking Mountain Red Velvet, the body says, hey, I can do this because I got the building blocks again.
Exactly.
Which is kind of neat. It means that, as I say, one of the taglines is, you're not a fetus, so you need Mountain Red Velvet.
That's right. Build a better you. And that's what this product is all about, is it's to heal the body. And there's no other product out there that I can see that heals to this degree.
Our next step, by the way, is to get the DR caps, which we'll have the exclusive first in the world, the DR cap of Mountain Red Velvet. And the next step beyond that is to actually make surgical versions of granules and strips to be implanted to help surgically regenerate tissues. And we're working with development of a thing called morphogenic field therapy, where we use a combination of morphogenic scalar and energetic fields of light and the electromagnetic fields, combined with the extracellular matrix. The key is, without the ECM, you cannot heal any tissue without the extracellular matrix, and Mountain Red Velvet is the treatment. It's more powerful and better than pig bladder, which they're already using with the military to regenerate quadricep muscles and fingertips. We're soon going to be able to do what's called 3D printing of organs, but without the extracellular matrix, it'll never work. Tom's been a busy guy lately from MG12, but boy, their products are great for topical. And again, I like to tell people the pathway to wellness, and my book, Dr. U, is going to be a ring-bound book. It's not going to be an e-book. It's going to be an actual physical book. And how can I put it this way? Like the tablets Moses was given when he came down from the mountain for the 10 Commandments, these will be the 10 Commandments for anti-aging, life extension, and zero senescence. And when the book comes out, it's going to change medicine and physiology and what life forms are, not just human, but also all life forms on the planet. It's going to explain a lot about what a living thing is and why it ages, or why people or animals or plants get disease. And it will change the plasma biophysics and the informational biophysics of why a person gets ill. The interesting thing about Mountain Red Velvet is it changes what's called the signal-to-noise ratio. Now, people need to understand this biophysical principle. When you're a fetus, you have very high amounts of extracellular matrix, the ECM. It's stimulated by an ancient peptide called proteolin, and proteolin is identical to TRH, which is in the hypothalamus in the brain, the sexual organs, and in the jejunal cells of the upper small bowel, just below the stomach. After birth, it drops off very rapidly to those terminal organs, and if you have ECM, extracellular matrix, the cells wake up and say, I can do this. I can make a new kidney. I can regenerate the eyeball. I can make the neural pathways in your brain reconnect. I can make you grow nice, long, hard nails. I can regenerate your quadricep muscle that's been damaged in an accident or car accident. And the thing is, really, it's a matter that the stem cells are sitting there. An 82-year-old, for example, may have 2 to 5% perfectly healthy, normal stem cells, and all they have to do is multiply those stem cells in response to a stimuli or an insult. But if they don't have the extracellular matrix, they can wander in there and say, I'm here to do a job, to reconstruct, and the senior engineers and managers are not there with the blueprints, and they say, well, I'm just going to stand here with my root wheelbarrow and my hammers and my power tools, and I can't do a thing. Well, the way the body works is you give the extracellular matrix, which is mountain red velvet, and the body says, I got all the parts. We're set to go. Let's do it. We have the framework now. We can know exactly where to put windows and doors and how to lay tile and everything. The same thing goes on in the cells. The body says, I can now absorb the right minerals. I can make the structural proteins. I can make the enzymes. I know how big an eyeball should be. It should not be the size of a dinner plate or as small as a pea. I can regenerate the layers of your myelin sheath and your nerves. And people say, how is that possible? I said, well, if you have all the building blocks, 396 building block molecules and 6 growth hormones, what do you think? You need those building blocks, and if you have them for all mammalian species, it's like, okay, we're ready to roll. And you can literally photocopy yourself into the future. That's what I tell people. You are photocopying yourself into the future when you have ECM.
And that's what we hear from people who've said, oh, I've tried everything. You know, oh, I've had this shoulder injury feature.
When I hear somebody says that to me and they say, everything? You know, like the old commercial. Remember that commercial about the chocolate bar and Satan is there, everything? You'll give anything. But no, you haven't tried anything, because you haven't, number one, if you have said that, you haven't listened to the show. You don't realize, and one of the lessons I've learned about becoming wise is you have to realize how stupid you are before you become wise. And you have to realize how little you know. Like, for example, every morning I get up and say, God, I am ignorant of everything in the universe. Make me wiser. And God says, now that you're empty, I'll fill you up. And the first thing I find is ask better questions. When you ask questions of, like, what is aging? Aging is a poor repair job. Every day your cells go out, your stem cells are whizzing around the freeway of your microcirculation. They get off the freeway and say, where's the sign for the latest construction zone? Oh, there's a scaffolding over there in that tissue in the cardiac muscle cells or in the temporal lobe of the brain and the hippocampus, because their memory's starting to go. And I see the scaffolding up, so there must be a construction crew there. Gets off in a little truck off the microcirculation, pulls over, screeches the stem cell tires, and then gets out with all their equipment and says, we can do this job. We'll be done before supper time and off to go and have a couple beers. Stem cells say. And that's how it works. I mean, we use that analogy, but really it's that simple. If you don't have ECM, the body says, there's lots of things that need to be under construction here, and we got grants from the federal government, but guess what? That money's going to sit in the bank because nobody has blueprints. Nobody knows what to do if they arrive at the construction site. When you have ECM, the body can do it.
And because there are so many active ingredients in this one capsule, it doesn't just stop and say, oh, I'll give you more energy, and oh, I'll make you sleep better. It races around the body and says, oh, there's an injury, I can fix that too. So it's just one of the most powerful products you can take to heal the body, not mask the symptoms of pain, as you say, but to give you back that ability to go out and play a game of tennis at the weekend, or walk with your grandchildren, or take a stroll on the golf course. But all the things that you used to do, that you used to be able to have the energy and the ability to get out there and move, but as we've aged, our body has started to seize up, or you don't have that energy. And with the mountain red deer velvet, you're exactly right. You're just giving back all those nutrients and proteins and amino acids and lipids and to heal the body. And away you go again.
Think of it this way. It's almost like if you are really like history and you want to buy, say, American treasured buildings of the early Revolution, and they're 200 years ago in Virginia and the New England states. You want to get a master contractor so he's going to actually rebuild so it won't fall apart in 100 years. And you want to actually use even better building techniques than the originals, but you want to make it historically accurate so that it looks like the original building and is even stronger and less likely to fall down. Well, that's what ECM does, Mountain Red Velvet. And when you use it with our other nutraceuticals, Vitamin Mineral Max, Minerals Plus, Collagen Max, which will triple the rate of the proline transhydroxylase, joint performance tendon mender. You take the cofactors like ergothioneine and myco-D2. You start taking these things like microdose, etc. Then you start using mild hyperbaric oxygen, pulse magnetic field, micropulse, and lumen photon therapy. The body says, I can do this. And then if you're really, really stretched, like you wait until your kidney function's down and you're already on dialysis, do everything I said, and also add Stematica's stem cell therapy. Go to Santa Clarita, Mexico, and I can help get you linked up for that, and get a stem cell transplant. Because even if it doesn't, quote, indigenate and become stem cells grow in your body, it's going to turn off the inflammation. It's going to stimulate your own growth factors. But you got to have prepare the soil. You got to be a good, as they say, farm boy or farm girl. You got to prepare the soil so when those stem cells come up and in, the stem cells say, man, this is great soil. I'm going to get my toes in this soil. I'm going to start putting down roots. I'm going to grow into something. But if the soil is like gravel, concrete, or ground glass,
doesn't work so well.
And we should have Dave Mitchell. Dave, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, Dave, what's the latest in prepping that you'd recommend? Of course, you're a realtor broker here in Southern California. You've got some amazing information to help us. I can hear music in the background. I hope that's not coming from you.
No.
I think we're still connected, too. So tell us, what kind of prepping ideas would you have?
Well, I'll tell you, one thing that's going on that's good is we have a lot of fruit on our trees this year. Last year we didn't have hardly any.
Well, we're getting a lot more rain the last month or so here in Southern California. The La Nina is changing things dramatically. We had a sprinkle of rain this morning, and we're having at least 1 or 2 days a week where it rains now. So much for the totalitarian control freak maniacs in the legislative assembly here up in Northern California. I really think that California is a great state to live, although, they're going to get some lawsuits to stop the forced vaccination. But here, if you want to grow food year-round, if you want to have a well, if you want to have a prepper community, it's the ideal state, isn't it? It's upwind of any nuclear reactors. It's a perfect climate. It's far enough so that you're not getting Fukushima Daiichi. Any further north, like Washington State or the northern states or even Midwest, those streams of radiation are going to come across and even dive down to the Midwest states. So a lot of people say, well, you're on the West Coast. They say, yeah, but we're south. The waters, you don't want to eat food that's, let's say, coming directly from British Columbia, but even Alaska or down here, we've been testing it, and there's nothing that we can find indicating high levels of radiation. It's hitting British Columbia, though, and killing the intertidal region, and it's going to continue increasing. But I'm sure that there's going to be enough push now that we're starting to get some traction that we're going to have Fukushima properly addressed in the next year or so, and it'll be shut down. It'll probably be shut down properly instead of by TEPCO or the international community. In terms of what you can do with people who want to buy a property or set up a prepper community, give us some ideas there, Dave, and what you can offer.
Well, starting from the land up, you can. It's best to find something with utilities because a lot of times the owners will carry the financing for you on vacant land. But right. Sometimes you can find a property that already has a trailer on it or fifth wheel.
Right.
Or a garage. I sold a piece with a garage on it, and they're converting it into a house. It had all the utilities. Something like that you can get in for pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the other thing is, of course, you can subdivide a property. For example, you mentioned a few properties that you have already listing where if you subdivide it, which is actually not that difficult a process, you can put in dozens of families, or that they can start developing what I call a prepper community framework so that they can have a future place to develop and say whether they have turtle top shelters or they bring in a pre-made built home or they do other things to build up an ability to have everything they want, a place for a school, a place for medical and dental care, a place for personal protection, a place for animal husbandry, etc. All those kind of things you're going to need in order to be able to survive a post-apocalyptic kind of civilization. And people say, well, that can't happen. I said, yes, it can. In fact, the more fragile your society gets, the more stupid the managers of your society are, which we're seeing ample evidence of, the more likely that if you have a post-apocalyptic thing, you are going to survive. Otherwise, it'll be pandemonium, and people don't realize that's not a survivable situation. A lot of people say, well, they have the illusion of normalcy. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Yeah, it's actually guaranteed to happen. All you need is an airborne plague, a nuclear war, economic downturn, and things can get pretty desperate. And there's no need for that at all. But we're going to have to take back our own future because it's being stolen from us. And a lot of people don't understand that the powers that be. Look at Obama. The guy is a fool. He couldn't possibly operate a ice cream stand on a beach because he'd say the Republicans kicked the cord and it all melted overnight. What would you tell people if you're telling them about properties. What can they do if they want to sell their home in a different part of, say, California or another part of America or outside the country, and they want to move here, or they want to move to another country? What kinds of combination of advice can you give people? They say, I want to move to another state or another part of the country. You can help them in that way too, can't you, Dave?
That's right. Like I have a guy from Missouri that has a pretty self-sufficient property. It has, I think he has an artesian well and fruit trees and whatnot. But yeah, I've gotten some calls, around the country.
So now he's going to move from one part of the country to another part of the country. In other words, not even here in California, but you can work with brokers in other parts of the country as well, or even outside. Let's say they want to move to Ecuador, they want to move to Uruguay. You can help people even in doing that, moving outside the country as well. To be honest with you, I don't really recommend it. I think that you want to be with like-minded people of the same language and attitude toward the Constitution than moving to a foreign country where you're always uphill trying to convince people that it's a good idea to have civil liberties.
Also, the language can be quite a barrier.
Oh yeah, you're going to get to a foreign language and a foreign culture that where the gangs and the cliques control everything. It can be pretty frustrating.
Of course, with some of those language conversion things, it certainly makes it a lot easier than it used to be.
Or you mean language conversion programs? Most people pick them up pretty quickly. What are the prepper secrets you'd recommend? You mentioned having gravity wells, having other things. I just got another email from one of my suppliers of different equipment and so on in China. It's amazing how you can pick up incredibly cheap solar equipment from China. But I tell people the power grid's not going to survive even the amount of solar that's mandated by the law. And to be honest with you, if I have solar, I want it off grid. I don't want it connected to the grid. The idea of selling your power to the solar to the power companies, number one, they can't handle it on their power distribution network, and number two, you're not going to get proper dollar value for the amount of money you have to put into it unless you're buying a system from China at a song. And I tell people, just get a smaller system that's portable, so you get a few portable, lithium-ion or other heavy-duty batteries for backup. Have 2 or 3 of those smaller systems, so you can run your computer and a TV and cook. But you don't want to have the same kind of level of power you have daily now when things become what we call apocalyptic, where the power's gone for weeks because of cybernetic attack or CME. You really don't want to be sticking out like a sore thumb with lights on everywhere and the barbecue's going and everything's happening. People say for miles they almost look at a GPS and say, that house has got power. How come? They look like they're just sailing through this apocalypse. They're having a good time. And you're going to have a lot of unwelcome neighbors, aren't you?
That's right.
So I tell people, number one, the first principle today is to get out of the big cities. If you're in any big city, New York City, Los Angeles, anywhere, get on the outskirts far enough so you can have at least a place at a distance, but you still can commute. Number two, be ready to start working on now a multi-home community. A community where you have anywhere from 30 to 50 to 100 families, where you have a combination of skill sets that you can have a tooth pulled if you need to, and you have a wound taken care of, you can deliver a baby, you can have a school, you can have protection for the perimeter of the property. Those are important principles that people should realize. It's in layers. First layers, have 3 weeks of food and water in your house, minimum. Ideally have up to 6 months. If society breaks down longer than 2 to 6 months, you have to basically reestablish civilization in a prepper community outside a large city, ideally a 1 gas tank away, but it may not be, but ideally far enough away that you can actually protect yourself from roving bands of starving, hungry, and violent people. And people say, that can't happen. I say, well, it's considering the way our world is being managed, it's pretty well going to happen. We just don't know which year or decade it's going to be, but it will. It's one of the things that's in our future. In fact, I think the new movie called Road Warrior, I think it was, came out this weekend, or last weekend, which was done with, I guess I heard there's some pretty good reviews on it, and I think I might even see it this weekend if I have time from all the other consults and fun things I got to do. So, Dave, any other suggestions?
Any suggestions on Well, let's see. Sounds like there's something new is coming. But
Yeah, the key thing I think people should realize is, number one, get yourself spiritually prepared, be with people of like mind. Start with simple things. Get yourself capable of self-protection, have water and food stored. Start trying to consider yourself, get out of the big city. Contact Dave and Jean Mitchell. They're going to have a link on our front page. Their phone number is 619-990-6050, 619-990-6050. And Dave and Jean will get you set up, whether you're moving here to California or moving elsewhere in the country, or even at odds, distant countries like Ecuador or Patagonia, Uruguay. Dave can help you. But listen to the advice. Times are changing. Hour 3 coming up.